Fellas, this weekend is UFC 303. We've got Alex Pereira rematching Prochazka for the light heavyweight belt. And overall, I think this is a pretty good card. Like, it's not the McGregor fight that we all wanted to see, but I think the replacement fight with Brian Ortega and Diego Lopes has been really good. I think the card from top to bottom is actually really good. There's a lot of banger fights on this card. It might not have the name value, but I think it's definitely got a lot of fun fights on this card. So we're going to be going through every single fight on this card from the early prelims all up until the main event. My personal predictions for who I think is going to win. Now, my predictions for the last week's card, the Saudi Arabia card, I only got 2 incorrect predictions, which was the Gaffaro fight and the Pavlovich fight. Apart from that, I did pretty well. So we're going to be predicting every single fight on this card, and we'll start off with the early prelim opener, Ray Cesaro versus Carlos Hernandez. Now, Ray Cesaro came from Raw to the UFC, and he's actually probably one of the better fighters to come from Raw to the UFC. Normally, when a fighter comes from Raw to the UFC, they tend to be kind of lower level, but Ray Cesaro seems to be really good. He's 9-0, undefeated prospect, and he's going to be taking on Carlos Hernandez. I think Carlos Hernandez is going to be his toughest test yet, because Carlos Hernandez, he's got really good boxing, and I think he's much better on the feet than Ray Cesaro. He's got really good boxing on the inside as Carlos Hernandez, and I think if he's able to keep it on the feet, he will do a lot of damage to Ray Cesaro, but I don't think he is, because Carlos Hernandez, his wrestling is horrible. He doesn't have the best wrestling. Ray Cesaro is a really good wrestler. I think Ray Cesaro is going to take him down like he did in the road to the UFC against the other guys, and I think it's going to be a dominant win. Well, not a dominant win, but I think Ray Cesaro is going to comfortably win when it comes to grappling against Carlos Hernandez. Now, I don't think he's going to latch up a submission because Carlos Hernandez does have decent submission defense. So I think Ray Cesaro is going to be able to, Carlos Hernandez is going to be able to survive. But I would go Ray Cesaro to take him down, round off the round, keep him down with the control time, maybe land some damage with the ground and pound. And I think it's going to be a very grappling heavy base from Ray Cesaro. Again, it is just a case of, can Carlos Hernandez keep it on the feet? I don't think he can. I'm going to go with the Raw to the UFC finale winner in Ray Cesaro to win this one. And yeah, I'm going Ray Cesaro to win by decision. Maybe pulls off a submission, but I do trust Carlos Hernandez submission defense that he's going to be able to survive this one. Then we've got Ricky Simón versus Vinicius Oliveira. I don't know why this is so low down on the card. You're going to see me complain about the bout order multiple times throughout this video. I don't know why this fight is so low down on the card. This could honestly be like a prelim headliner, but I'm going to go Ricky Simón to win this one by decision. Now, Vinicius Oliveira, if you didn't see early this year, got like a KO of the year contender. He got a really good flying knee KO. And he's just kind of one of those kill or be killed fighters. Got a really wild style, really dangerous striker, and much more dangerous on the feet than Ricky Simón. But Ricky Simón has been facing these top guys: Jack Shaw, Song Yadong, Mario Bautista, and he might be on a 2-fight losing streak, but that's against 2 ranked guys. And like I said, he's got some good wins. Brian Kelleher, Jack Shaw, those are really good wins. And Ricky Simón's one of those kind of high output grapplers, similar to Amarab. He's just very high output wrestling, likes taking you down, tries to keep you down. If you get back up, he's going to shoot another takedown, and he likes keeping people down. And I think that's a very favourable style against Vinicius Oliveira, who's got this wild style. And I don't know if his takedown defense is going to be on point. On top of that, Vinicius Oliveira, this is quite a big step up in competition for him to go from Sopaj all the way to Ricky Simón. That's a big step up in competition. And I just think Ricky Simón, I trust him a little bit more in this fight against Vinicius Oliveira. So I'm going to go Ricky Simón to win this one by decision. I think he's going to keep him down for the majority of the fight. I just don't think Oliveira is going to be able to get back up when Ricky Simón's taking him down. And if Oliveira can keep it on the feet, that's good for him. That's his best opportunity. But I think Ricky Simón's been facing these top guys. He's very dangerous when it comes to grappling. I'm going to go Ricky Simón to win this one, and I'm going to go by decision. Then we've got Andrei Arlovski versus Martin Buday. Now, I assume a lot of people are looking at Andrei Arlovski, picking him to win because of the name value and the fact that it's Andrei Arlovski, but the dude's 45 years old, and he's on a 3-fight losing streak. And I understand he's had some decent wins in his 40s, and in the heavyweight division, you can kind of afford to fight when you're older. But he just seems to be getting progressively worse each fight. He hasn't won since his fight against Jake Collier. And Martin, I know he's coming off that loss to Shamil Gaziev, which isn't good, and on paper that doesn't look well. But he's also quite a dangerous guy, Martin Buday. He carries quite a lot of power. He carries a lot of power, does Martin Buday. And I think he's going to make it ugly in this fight. I don't think he's going to want to stand and trade with Andrei Arlovski, because Andrei Arlovski still has the skills to pay the bills. That's his best opportunity of winning. I think Buday's going to make it ugly. A lot of clinch work in this fight. I think he's going to make it quite boring as well, because that's normally how Martin Buday fights. But yeah, I'm going to go Martin Buday to win this one by decision. I just don't know how long left Andrei Arlovski has. I think either this fight or his next fight could be his retirement fights. I don't think he has really anything left to offer for the UFC. He's an absolute legend, but I just don't know if I trust him to win. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. He's facing Martin Buday, who is a very dangerous guy, makes it ugly, and I think Martin Buday is going to make it ugly, like I just said, against Andrei Arlovski, and I think he's going to cruise to a decision win. I don't think he's going to finish Andrei Arlovski, because Arlovski's a really tough guy. He's faced much better guys than Martin Buday, but I am going to go with Martin Buday winning this one by decision, unfortunately, and it would be good to see Andrei Arlovski break the losing streak and get a win, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to go Martin Buday to win this one by decision. Then we've got Michelle Waterson Gomez versus Gillian Robertson. I'm going to go Gillian Robertson by first round submission because Gillian Robertson is a really good grappler. She's one of the best grappling prospects in women MMA right now. Super, super dangerous submissions, and her ground and pound is dangerous as well. And Michelle Waterson Gomez, I feel like she's on her way out. She's 38 years old. She's on a 4-fight losing streak. And to be fair to her, she has got a really good striking base. And she has fought a lot of, she's very experienced and she's fought a lot of high-level fighters. But I feel like as of right now, you can't let your legacy fight for you. I'm going to go Gillian Robertson to win this one. I think Waterson's best chance is keeping it on the feet with that karate style that she has and just piecing up Gillian Robertson, because to be fair, Gillian Robertson isn't that good on the feet, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think sooner or later they're going to engage in a grappling exchange. Gillian Robertson's going to take her down, latch up a submission, maybe beat her with ground and pound and then find a submission from there. And I'm going to go first round submission to Gillian Robertson. She's a really, really good grappler, really dangerous grappler, and I just don't trust Michelle Waterson Gomez, who's on a 4-fight losing streak, and she's nearly 40 years old. She doesn't seem to be getting better in every fight. I'm going to go Gillian Robertson to win this one by first round submission. I think that's probably the most logical pick out of this fight. Like I said, Michelle Waterson Gomez's best chance is keeping it on the feet, because to be fair, she does have good submissions herself, but I just don't think it's going to happen against Gillian Robertson. So I'm going to go Gillian Robertson by submission in the first round. Then we've got quite a close fight. Jourdain versus Silva. Now, I remember when people were hyping up Jourdain as if he's like going to be the next big Canadian star in the UFC, and that obviously didn't happen. He's only won 2 out of his last 5, and those 2 wins ain't even against the best opponents. Kron, Gracie, and Ricardo. Yeah, Jourdain, he gets hit quite a lot, which is why it's very favourable for Silva. But to be fair to Jourdain, he's much more technical than Silva. He's a very technical striker. He's got a decent grappling base. And that is why I'm going to pick Jourdain to win this one by decision. But Silva's very dangerous. I think if you are going to pick Silva, you've got to pick him by KO. He's very, very powerful. He's got a really good win that aged well against Weston Wilson. But yeah, Silva, he's got really, really good power. And he also has quite explosive wrestling that he likes to mix up with his striking as well. But I just think because Jourdain is a little bit more technical, he's faced much better guys than Silva. If I had to pick one, I would probably lean towards Jourdain. But it is a close fight. Silva definitely has the danger advantage. Silva definitely has the power advantage, and he could get it done if he mixes it up with his wrestling efficiently. But I just don't think that's going to happen. I am going to go Jourdain to win this one. I think he's going to piece him up on the feet and cruise to another decision. And I'm going to go Jourdain to win this one by decision. And he's faced some good people as Jourdain as well. And even though he's lost to them, Nathaniel Wood, Sean Woodson, these are some pretty decent guys that he's fighting. So yeah, I'm going to go Jourdain to win this one by decision. Then we've got Payton Talbott versus Yani Ghemmori. Payton Talbott is the future of the bantamweight division. He is so slick on the feet. He just walks forward, pressures you, and just beats the crap out of you like he just did to Cameron Simon. And it kind of feels like a bit of a step down in competition to go from Cameron to Yani Ghemmori. It feels like this is definitely a fight that the UFC have made to get eyes on Payton Talbott, to let Payton Talbott get a flash finish in what they thought was going to be the audience of McGregor Chandler. And they just want Payton Talbot to become a star in the bantamweight division. And that is why they've given him Yani Ghemmori. And I'm picking Payton Talbot to get a KO in the first round. A lot of comparisons to Sean O'Malley is going to Payton Talbot, and if I had to compare this to a Sean O'Malley fight, I think this is going to be very similar to Sean O'Malley versus Chris Moutinho, except Yani Ghemmori is nowhere near as tough, and I don't think his output is going to be as high. I think it's going to be Payton Talbot pressuring Yani Ghemmori, just high output, dangerous boxing until eventually Yani Ghemmori is going to, he's going to throw a shot. Payton Talbot's going to counter, land a big shot, sleep Yani Ghemmori in that first round, and I'm going first round KO to Payton Talbot. I think he's going to play with him because he's the future of the bantamweight division. It's an easy fight. It's a big step down in competition, and it is just a fight to get Payton Talbot back on track. Now, Yani Ghemmori, he's a decent kickboxer. He's not that bad, but I just don't think he's going to be able to go against Payton Talbot, who's much better in every way on the feet. And even in grappling, his grappling defense is super effective. He doesn't just go, he's got really good, he uses striking well to defend takedowns as well. But yeah, I'm going to go Payton Talbot to KO Yani Ghemmori in this first round because I just think he's way more dangerous and just overall a much better striker. Then we've got Swanson versus Andrei Fili. If this goes to full fight, this is going to be an absolute banger, but I think this is also going to end in another first round KO. Now, Andrei Fili, he's kind of like a kill or be killed fighter. He's got this very scrappy style where he's dangerous. He hits really hard, but at the same time, he's quite chinny. He got dropped in the fight with Nathaniel Wood. He got dropped against Johannesson Brito. He got KO'd out stiff by Danny Ige. I just don't trust the chin of Andrei Fili, but at the same time, he is a powerful guy, and if he hits you with a big shot, it is danger. Both of these guys are super experienced. Swanson is also a very dangerous guy. I'm going Swanson to win this one by first round KO. I think immediately as soon as the bell goes, this is going to be a firefight. They're both going to be standing in the middle, very technical, but at the same time, I think they're going to be trading against each other. And if I had to pick one of them, I'm going Swanson. I think he's very, very powerful. He's very experienced, and so is Fili, but I feel like Fili's chin has been letting him down recently. And even though he's dangerous, I'm going to go Swanson by KO in the first round. I think Andrei Fili's going to be trying to scrap with him. He's a very scrappy type of style, as Andrei Fili, until eventually Swanson lands a big shot. And I'm going Swanson to KO Andrei Fili in that first round. So I'm going Swanson to KO Andrei Fili round 1. But if this fight does go the distance, I honestly think this could be the prelim, like the best, like the fight of the night for the prelim. This is a really, really good fight. Two experienced guys who come to bring it every single time. And yeah, I think this has potential to be a really good fight. But I'm going Swanson to win by first round KO. Then we have Pyfer versus Marc-Andre Barriault. I still think Pyfer is one of the best prospects in the middleweight division. He's super, super talented. He's got really good jiu-jitsu, really good grappling. And obviously this guy hits like an absolute truck. I feel like he got done dirty in his last fight. He went against Jack Hermansson, which is a massive step up in competition when he fought Hermansson. And he didn't even get finished. He lost by decision. And I assume he was expecting Hermansson to come with like a more heavy grappling base, because Hermansson's one of those weird grapplers where he's a good grappler, but he doesn't really tend to shoot takedowns. He likes to strike a lot more than grappling, which I don't know why he does that. But yeah, Pyfer lost to Jack Hermansson, and he's going to be facing Marc-Andre Barriault, and in all honesty, I just think that Pyfer is better than Barriault everywhere the fight goes. I think on the feet, he's much more dangerous than Barriault. I think he's a much better striker. And when it comes to grappling, I think he's got better jiu-jitsu. Now, Marc-Andre Barriault does have high output striking. He's a very walk-forward, striky type of style. But I think that's going to cost him against Pyfer. I think he's going to walk forward and he's going to walk into a big shot in that second round. And I'm going Pyfer to crack Marc-Andre Barriault with a big shot, put him out cold in that second round. And I'm going Pyfer, second round KO. I just think he's better everywhere the fight goes. Marc-Andre is going to walk forward, eat a big shot from Pyfer, getting KO'd, and I'm going Pyfer by second round KO. Don't know what's next for Pyfer after this fight, because he has lost to Jack Hermansson, so maybe they are going to give him another ranked opponent, because he has got some decent rings as well. GM3, Al Hassan, he's got some decent wins on his name, but yeah, I'm going Pyfer to KO Marc-Andre Barriault in the second round. I think this is a very good win for him to get back on track and get some confidence back, so I'm going Pyfer by second round KO. Then we've got Garry versus MVP. MVP. Now, I don't know why this is so low down on this card. I expected this to be much higher. This is another one of those complaints I've got about the bout order, but I'm going with... Now, here's the thing about MVP. He's a really fun striker to watch, and there'll be nothing better than to watch MVP go out there and KO Garry with a spinning back elbow, but I just don't know if I trust him. I feel like MVP is going to be one of these guys who he's not going to be a serious contender for the champion. Like, I don't view MVP as a serious contender for the welterweight belt. I see him being like a Wonderboy-esque fighter where he puts up a lot of these fun fighters in the welterweight division. I don't know if he necessarily wins a majority of them, and I just don't know if he wins this fight because he's facing Garry, who's a really good striker. He outstruck Neil Magny, D-Rod, and Jeff Neal. He's undefeated, and I also think Garry's going to mix it up with his grappling in this fight. We saw him the fight with Kevin Holland with MVP. That Kevin Holland, even though MVP got up, he was able to take Michael Venom Page down a couple of times, and if Garry does that, I think that's going to be a big part of his game plan, mix it up with his grappling rather than just striking with him. And I think on the feet, Garry's really good offensively. MVP, he's really good offensively, and it really just comes down to, can Garry figure MVP out? I think he's going to be competitive on the feet, but I've just got to go with Garry. I think I view Garry as a more serious contender for the belt than MVP, so I'm going to go Garry, but I would like MVP to win this fight. I would like him to just showboat on Garry and get the win, but I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to go Garry to win this one by decision. I did pick MVP to beat Kevin Holland, but this is one of those fights where I'm not sure I would necessarily favour MVP to win. I think this is one of the more difficult fights for MVP in the division, along with any other grappler. So yeah, I'm going to go Garry, competitive on the feet, but I think he's going to mix it up with his grappling. I'm going Garry to win this one by decision. Then we've got Mayra, Bueno, Silva versus Macy, Chiasson. I don't know why this is so high up on the card. They should honestly be on the prelims. They should have got Joe Pyfer on the main card, or Andrei, Fili and Cub Swanson, and move this down to the prelims. I don't know why this is so high up in the card, but I'm going to go Mayra Bueno Silva by submission in the first round. Macy Chiasson, I think on the feet, I would probably favour her to beat Mayra Bueno Silva, but it's not by a long shot. I mean, she does have an insane height and reach advantage, but I wouldn't say she's insanely better than Mayra Bueno Silva on the feet. And then when it comes to grappling, Macy Chiasson likes to engage in grappling a lot, but she never really seems to have that much success. So I'm going to go with Mayra Bueno Silva to submit her in the first round. I think on the feet, they're going to be feeling each other out quite a bit until eventually they fall into that grappling exchange. Mayra Bueno Silva takes her down and submits. Now, the thing about Mayra Bueno Silva is if it does get past the first or the second round, that's where I would favour Macy Chiasson to win in that third round, because Mayra Bueno Silva has cardio built for one round. She hasn't got the best stamina, but I don't think that's going to matter in this fight, because I am picking Mayra Bueno Silva to submit Macy Chiasson in the first round, but this should not be this high up on the card. This should be on the prelims. I don't think anyone wants to see this, especially over Ian, Garry and MVP. Garry and MVP should be the featured fight of this pay-per-view. I don't know why it's the main card opener, but yeah. Mayra Bueno Silva, Macy Chiasson. I'm going Mayra Bueno Silva to win this one by submission in the first round. Then we've got Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. Crazy how this fight came along. It went from what? Jamal Hill versus Khalil Roundtree to Jamal Hill versus Carlos Ulberg to Carlos Ulberg to Anthony Smith, and now Anthony Smith versus Roman Dolidze. I'm picking Anthony Smith to win by decision. I think it's a really favourable matchup for him. I mean, Roman Dolidze is on a 2-fight losing streak, and he's now moving up on short notice to fight Anthony Smith, a big 205 as well in Anthony Smith. I think Anthony Smith's going to completely beat Roman Dolidze over his grappling. Roman Dolidze's got decent jiu-jitsu, and he's also got quite a lot of power on the feet. But I see this being like very similar to Anthony Smith versus Ryan Spann, except Roman Dolidze is nowhere near as powerful as Ryan Spann, and I think Anthony Smith is going to have a much better time at taking Roman Dolidze down. So I'm going to go Anthony Smith by decision. I think he's going to take Roman Dolidze down, keep him down for the majority of the fight, beat him up with ground and pound, maybe fake a couple of submission attempts, and then I think when he is on the feet, I just don't think Roman Dolidze, especially for the fact that he's lost on the feet in his last 2 fights, is going to have enough to offer to beat Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith's coming off that really good win over Vitor Petrino as well, so I'm going to get Anthony Smith to win this one. I think it's a very favourable matchup. I mean, he's facing a middleweight, isn't he? It's Anthony Smith against a middleweight, so I'm going to go Anthony Smith to win by decision because of his grappling. I think he's just going to run through Roman Dolidze. Could potentially get a finish with ground and pound or submissions, but yeah, I trust Anthony Smith in this fight. I don't know why Roman Dolidze... I don't know why anyone would pick Roman Dolidze to win this fight. Extremely unfavourable for Roman Dolidze, but I'm going to go Anthony Smith. Then we've got the core main event, Brian Ortega versus Diego Lopes. This is a really good fight. This is probably one of the best fights on the card, and I'm glad this has now been, you know, official as a replacement. I'm going Diego Lopes by KO in the first round. People love to talk about Brian Ortega's jiu-jitsu, but Diego Lopes' jiu-jitsu is really good as well. In fact, he's got more career submissions than Brian Ortega. And I know he's had a lot more fights than Brian Ortega, but if we look at the percentage, it's not even like Brian Ortega has a high submission percentage than Diego Lopes. I feel like when it comes to grappling, I feel like Diego Lopes' submission jiu-jitsu is going to be enough to avoid any threat from Brian Ortega. And you look at the past 5 fights from Brian Ortega, he's won 2 out of his last 5. I know one of them was an injury, and he got the win over Yair Rodriguez, but at the end of the day, he was able to submit Yair Rodriguez, who's one of the worst wrestlers in the division, one of the worst grapplers in the division, and he was getting pieced up early on in that fight. And his other one was Korean Zombie, who's now retired. Diego Lopes is coming off that really good KO over Sadiq Youssef. I think he's much better on the feet than Brian Ortega, and I think he's going to run into this fight and KO Brian Ortega in that first round. He's a very quick, explosive guy, Diego Lopes. Brian Ortega hasn't necessarily impressed. I mean, he impressed me by beating Yair Rodriguez. That was an impressive when I thought Rodriguez was going to get that done, but I just think this is a really favourable matchup for Diego Lopes, and I know I'm not a fan of fighters getting a really big step up in competition, but I feel like Brian Ortega is a really favourable matchup for Diego Lopes, so I'm going to go Diego Lopes winning this one by KO in the first round. He's super dangerous, he's got really good jiu-jitsu, and he's much more dangerous on the feet than Brian Ortega, so I'm going to go Diego Lopes. It is Diego Lopes season 2024, and I just want to see Diego Lopes fight for that belt, man. I want to see him fight for that belt against Ilie Topuria. Imagine Lopes actually becomes a champion. That would be crazy, but no, I'm going Diego Lopes, KO in the first round. And then we got the main event, Alex Pereira versus Jiri Prochazka. I'm going Pereira to KO Jiri Prochazka out stiff in that third round. Yuri's just way too hittable. He's way too hittable as a fighter to make me want to pick him over Alex Pereira. He gets hit a lot in his fights. He got hit against Volkan Oezdemir. He got hit against Alexander Rakic. He got hit against Pereira in the first fight. And I feel like you can't really afford to get hit when you're facing Alex Pereira, who is the most dangerous guy in the division. I feel like Pereira's going to perfectly time Jiri around that third round, get that big left hook, clip Jiri with a big shot, and I think he's going to drop him and honestly KO him. Now, I do think Jiri is going to come into this fight with a much more grappling heavy approach. I think his best opportunity is if he mixes it up with his grappling, which I think he is going to do. But I think when it does come to fighting on the feet, Yuri's just got this really crafty style, really unorthodox style where he tends to leave himself open to get hit a lot, which is fun to see as a fan, but I don't think it's going to be fun to see as a Jiri Prochazka fan when Pereira clips him with a big left hook, especially when Pereira's coming off that really good win over Hill as well, that quickly as well. I'm going Pereira to win this one by KO in the third round. I think he's going to be out stiff. I don't think there's going to be controversy, and even though it would be fun to see this fight go for 5 rounds and it be an absolute war, I just don't think it is. I think I'm going Pereira to win this one by KO in the third round, and I think from there we're probably going to see Pereira face Ankalaev towards the end of the year. But that is my prediction for UFC 303. Let me know your predictions on this card this week and your overall thoughts on the changes to the card. But that is my personal predictions. Thank you for watching.